Welcome to the Royals Project YouTube channel. Please feel free to check out all of our character videos and let us know if you have any cool ideas on things characters could do in a video. Alright, we're back with R.L. Stine's Stay Out of the Basement, Chapter 5. I've got to get it, Casey said. Otherwise, Dad'll know. It's too late, Margaret interrupted, her eyes on the driveway. He's already pulled up the drive. It'll only take a second, Casey insisted, his hand on the basement doorknob. I'll run down and run right up. No, Margaret stood tensely in the center of the narrow hallway, halfway between the front door and the basement door, her eyes toward the front. He's parked. He's getting out of the car. But he'll know! He'll know! Casey cried, his voice high and whiny. So, remember how mad he got last time? Casey asked. Of course I remember, Margaret replied. But he's not going to kill us, Casey, just because we took a peek at his plans. Margaret stopped. She moved closer to the screen door. Hey, wait. What's going on? Casey asked. Hurry! Margaret turned and gestured with both hands. Go! Get downstairs! Fast! Mr. Henry from next door. He stopped Dad. They're talking about something in the drive. With a loud cry, Casey flung open the basement door and disappeared. Margaret heard him clumping rapidly down the stairs. Then she heard his footsteps fade as he hurried into their father's workroom. Hurry, Casey, she thought, standing guard at the front door, watching her father shielding his eyes from the sun with only one hand as he talked to Mr. Henry. Hurry. You know Dad never talks for long with the neighbors. Mr. Henry seemed to be doing all the talking. Probably asking Dad some kind of favor, Margaret thought. Mr. Henry wasn't handy at all, not like Dr. Brewer, and so he was always asking Margaret's dad to come over and help repair or install things. Her father was nodding now, a tight smile on his face. Hurry, Casey. Get back up here. Where are you? Still shielding his eyes, Dr. Brewer gave Mr. Henry a quick wave. Then both men spun around and began walking quickly toward their houses. Hurry, Casey. Casey, he's coming! Hurry! Margaret urged silently. It doesn't take this long to pick your t-shirt up from the floor and run up the stairs. It shouldn't take this long. Her dad was on the front walk now. He spotted her in the doorway and waved. Margaret returned the wave and looked back through the hallway to the basement door. Casey, where are you? She called aloud. No reply. No sound from the basement. No sound at all. Dr. Brewer had paused outside to inspect the rose bushes at the head of the front walk. Casey, Margaret called. Still no reply. Casey, hurry! Silence. Her father was crouching down, doing something to the soil beneath the rose bushes. With a feeling of dread weighing down her entire body, Margaret realized she had no choice. She had to go downstairs and see what was keeping Casey. Chapter 6. Casey ran down the steps, leaning on the metal banister so that he could jump down 2 steps at a time. He landed hard on the cement basement floor and darted into the bright white light of the plant room. Stopping at the entranceway, he waited for his eyes to adjust to the brighter than daylight. He took a deep breath, inhaling the steamy air, and held it. It was so hot down here, so sticky. His back began to itch. The back of his neck tingled. The jungle of plants stood as if at attention under the bright white lights. He saw his t-shirt lying crumpled on the floor a few feet from a tall, leafy tree. The tree seemed to lean toward the t-shirt, its long tendrils hanging down, loosely coiled on the soil around its trunk. Casey took a timid step into the room. Why am I so afraid? He wondered. It's just a room filled with strange plants. Why do I have the feeling that they're watching me, waiting for me? He scolded himself for being so afraid and took a few more steps toward the crumpled t-shirt on the floor. Hey, wait, the breathing. There it was again. Steady breathing. Not too loud, not too soft either. Who could be breathing? What could be breathing? Was a big tree breathing? Casey stared at the shirt on the floor, so near. What was keeping him from grabbing it and running back upstairs? What was holding him back? He took a step forward, then another. Was the breathing growing louder? He jumped, startled by a sudden low moan from the big supply closet against the wall. It sounded so human, as if someone were in there moaning in pain. "Casey, where are you?" Margaret's voice sounded so far away, even though she was just at the head of the stairs. "Okay so far," he called back to her. But his voice came out in a whisper. She probably couldn't hear him. He took another step. Another. The shirt was about 3 yards away. A quick dash, a quick dive, and he'd have it. Another low moan from the supply closet. A plant seemed to sigh. A tall fern suddenly dipped low, shifting its leaves. "Casey?" He could hear his sister from upstairs sounding very worried. "Casey, hurry!" "I'm trying," he thought. "I'm trying to hurry." What was holding him back? Another low moan, this time from the other side of the room. He took 2 more steps, then crouched low, his arms straight out in front of him. The shirt was almost within reach. He heard a groaning sound, then more breathing. He raised his eyes to the tall tree. The long, ropey tendrils had tensed, stiffened, or had he imagined it? No, they had been drooping loosely. Now they were taut, ready to grab him. "Casey, hurry!" Margaret called, sounding even farther away. He didn't answer. He was concentrating on the shirt, just a few feet away, just a few feet, just a foot. The plant groaned again. "Casey? Casey!" The leaves quivered all the way up the trunk, just a foot away, almost in reach. "Casey, are you okay? Answer me!" He grabbed the shirt. 2 snake-like tendrils swung out at him. "Huh?" he cried out, paralyzed with fear. "What's happening?" The tendrils wrapped themselves around his waist. "Let go!" he cried, holding the t-shirt tightly in one hand, grabbing at the tendrils with the other. The tendrils hung on and gently tightened around him. "Margaret?" Casey tried calling out, but no sound came out of his mouth. "Margaret?" He jerked violently, then pulled straight ahead. The tendrils held on. They didn't squeeze him. They weren't trying to strangle him or pull him back. They didn't let go. They felt warm and wet against his bare skin, like animal arms, not like a plant. "Help!" He again tried to shout. He pulled once more, leaning forward, using all his strength. No good. He ducked low, hit the floor, tried to roll away. The tendrils hung on. The plant uttered a loud sigh. "Let go!" Casey cried, finally finding his voice. And then suddenly Margaret was standing beside him. He hadn't heard her come down the stairs. He hadn't seen her enter the room. "Casey!" she cried. "What?" Her mouth dropped open and her eyes grew wide. "It won't let go," he told her. "No!" she screamed, and grabbed one of the tendrils with both hands and tugged with all her strength. The tendril resisted for only a moment, then went slack. Casey uttered a joyful cry and spun away from the remaining tendril. Margaret dropped the tendril and grabbed Casey's hand and began running towards the stairs. "Oh!" They both stopped short at the bottom of the stairway. Standing at the top was their father, glaring down at them, his hands balled into tight fists at his sides, his face rigid with anger. And that is all for now.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, you should check out the Royals Project's YouTube page and consider subscribing. If you would share this video, you'd be my hero. I gotta get back out there and start fighting crime. I'll catch you on the flip side.